Today, we have a tantalizing tale of mystery and romance that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Join us as we explore the enigmatic bride, a young woman shrouded in mystery and surrounded by rumors. Who is she? What secrets does she keep? Follow us as we unravel the web of deceit and betrayal that threatens to tear a small village apart. Will our protagonist and the enigmatic bride find true love amidst the chaos? There's only one way to find out. So, like and subscribe to our channel and join us on this thrilling journey through the unknown. As a young woman arrived by carriage that day, shrouded in mystery and intrigue, it was a day filled with great excitement in the small village of Highbury. After hearing rumors of her arrival for several weeks, the villagers were eager to see her when she finally arrived. While some whispered that she was a wealthy heiress, others claimed that she was evading the law. Regardless of who she really was, one thing was for certain: her arrival had given their otherwise dull lives the much-needed spark of excitement. The young lady's name was Anne, and it was claimed that she was a well-off London merchant's daughter. The villagers were in awe of her because she was dressed in the newest styles and carried herself with such grace and poise. But despite her elegance and beauty, there was something reserved and guarded about her. The moment she arrived, the villagers buzzed with anticipation. They questioned her identity, motive for visiting their community, and any secrets she might be keeping. Mr. Knightley, the local gent, was particularly interested in her. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen, and he was eager to learn more about her. Mr. Knightley watched her from a distance in an effort to better understand her routines and preferences. He hoped to find something that would enable him to solve the puzzle of how she had ended up in the village. Mr. Knightley was well liked in the neighborhood and was well known for his wit, intelligence, and good looks. His father left him a sizable estate, and he had grown up in Highbury. He was also a bit of a ladies' man, and many of the village's young ladies had their sights set on him. Mr. Knightley couldn't help but wonder if the new arrival had any connection to his own past as he dug deeper into the mystery. Despite his reputation, he was growing more drawn to her and determined to learn the truth about the reason behind her unexpected arrival in Highbury. However, Mr. Knightley fell in love with Anne right away. He couldn't help but be drawn to her for some reason. He was driven to learn more about her because he couldn't stop thinking about her. The villagers tried to learn more about Anne as the days passed. She was consistently evasive when they probed her about her background, her family, and her interests. Although she never gave them any substantive information about herself, she appeared to enjoy their attention. The man was still intrigued by Anne despite the villagers' efforts and chose a different strategy. He watched her from a distance, taking note of her customs and habits. He wished he had the nerve to approach her and start a conversation one day. Anne was reluctant to talk about herself, but she soon became the center of attention in the community. To see her, hear her speak, and get a glimpse of her, everyone flocked to be close to her. Everyone was drawn to her because she was like a breath of fresh air in the sleepy village. The more he watched her, the more he came to understand that she was unique. He found himself becoming more and more enamored with her with each passing day as a result of her alluring aura of mystery and her low-key confidence. But as the days passed, strange events started to occur in Highbury. A rich landowner was found dead in his home, and a priceless artifact from the nearby museum went missing. The villagers started to worry that something evil was happening in their formerly tranquil village. Despite the unsettling happenings, he couldn't help but be drawn to her and wonder if she knew anything or had any answers for the strange events. He couldn't help but have the impression that she was somehow connected as he dug deeper into the investigation. Mr. Knightley, who has always served as the village's protector, got involved in the inquiry. He put in a lot of effort to figure out who was responsible for the murder and theft, and soon he was collaborating closely with Anne. Together, they discovered her past secrets and a web of lies and betrayal that threatened to split the village in two. Mr. Knightley and Anne persisted in their pursuit of justice despite the dangers involved, determined to bring the offender to justice and bring peace to their neighborhood. In the end, their diligence paid off, and they were successful in cracking the case and ending the long reign of terror that had engulfed the village. They became more intimate as Mr. Knightley and Anne cooperated to solve the mystery. Mr. Knightley was determined to win her heart after realizing how much he had fallen in love with her. But as they dug deeper into the village's sinister secrets, they came to understand that their love would be put to the test in ways they never could have anticipated. As they learned more, the situation grew more dangerous, and they were forced to deal with not only a cunning criminal but also their own feelings for one another. In the end, they won on both fronts, but not without suffering wounds and picking up lessons along the way. The village was in a state of upheaval in the weeks following the mysterious bride's arrival. The villagers were perplexed and concerned by the strange events that were taking place. First, a priceless artifact from the neighborhood museum vanished. Then, a wealthy landowner's body was discovered in his residence. The newcomer was quickly blamed by the villagers, but there was no proof to support this. The mysterious newcomer, who had just moved into the village, kept to herself and was hardly ever seen in the open. Despite the lack of proof, many villagers continued to be wary of her and keep a close eye on her whereabouts. The bride's mysterious past and her connection to these unsettling events piqued the interest of the protagonist, a local gentleman. He joined the investigation and soon discovered himself entangled in a complicated web of lies and betrayal. As he investigated the mystery further, he discovered shocking secrets that might split the village in two. The gentleman's inquisitiveness caused him to piece together the bride's history, which was entwined with the gloomy past of the village. Along with uncovering the truth, his investigation assisted the villagers in letting go of their prejudices and superstitions. When the bride's secrets were revealed, it was a revelation to everyone. The investigation had taken the main character to the bride's past. The bride had dark and perilous secrets hidden throughout her past, and she was not who she seemed to be. She had shocking and unexpected connections to both the stolen artifact and the murdered landowner. The protagonist's efforts to expose the truth not only exonerated the bride but also assisted the villagers in realizing that their beliefs in superstitions and prejudice were unfounded. The investigation had a significant effect on the neighborhood and served as a lesson that not everything is as it seems. Tensions in the village reached new heights as the truth started to come out. The bride's past had a significant influence on the present, and the villagers found it difficult to adjust to the information. both new alliances and old animosities were rekindled. While attempting to maintain objectivity and make sense of the confusion all around him, the main character found himself in the eye of the hurricane. The main character discovered that the truth was trickier to understand than he had initially believed as he dug deeper into the bride's past. As he tried to navigate the divergent viewpoints of the villagers, he found himself doubting his own beliefs and values. The protagonist was persistent in his desire to learn the truth despite the obstacles. Together, he and the bride peeled back the complex web of deceit and betrayal, revealing the evil forces at work in the village. Nobody had anticipated the truth, and its implications were significant and far-reaching. The protagonist developed a newfound sense of humility and empathy as a result of the experience, realizing that there are frequently multiple sides to a story. He also discovered that, in some cases, the hardest part is not discovering the truth, but rather accepting it and figuring out how to proceed. The village was rocked by the revelation of the mysterious bride's secrets. The bride's parents were revealed to be a wealthy landowner who had abandoned her and her mother when she was a young child, which was both shocking and devastating. Until she was able to land a job as a governess and rise through the ranks to become a wealthy heiress, she had spent the majority of her life in poverty. Both the missing artifact from the neighborhood museum and the wealthy landowner's murder were connected to her past because they were both intended as retaliation for her father. Many of the villagers felt betrayed by the bride's deception as they were shocked to discover that she had been living among them all along. The investigation revealed that the bride was not the only person with secrets to keep, and the discovery of these sinister truths forever altered the once peaceful village. The bride's secrets were revealed, and they had significant repercussions. The villagers were shocked and furious to learn that she had been misleading them the entire time after being seduced by her beauty and charm. Some even urged her to leave the village right away because they felt betrayed and angry. Others were more understanding and thought she deserved a second chance because she had already endured so much in the past. The bride was appalled by the villagers' reaction and felt humiliated by her past. She made the decision to stay, though, in order to show them that she had changed and had grown as a result of her mistakes. For the main character and the mysterious bride, it was a bittersweet moment when the mystery was solved and true love was discovered amidst the chaos. They formed a close relationship that eventually blossomed into love as they worked together to uncover the mysteries of her past. Their joy, however, was fleeting as the knowledge of her past threatened to sever them. They eventually overcame the difficulties and discovered true love amidst the confusion. The theme of love triumphing over all was skillfully handled in the book, and the character growth was outstanding. The author's use of vivid imagery and evocative language gave the story depth and made it interesting to read. The event's after effects and the village's future were both in doubt. The village was left reeling from the shock even after the mystery had been solved and the truth had come to light. Numerous relationships have suffered harm, and some may never recover. The bride had made the decision to remain in the village, but her reputation had been damaged beyond repair. While some of the villagers remained suspicious of her, others made an effort to forget and forgive. After leaving the village, the groom was never heard from again. Some believed he had run away out of shame, while others thought he had been the victim of fraud. Life in the village went on despite the upheaval, albeit with a palpable sense of unease and mistrust among its residents. The village gradually recovered in the following months and years. The bride put in a lot of effort to win back the villagers' trust, and in the end, she succeeded in doing so. The main character and the bride were able to create a life together, and their love remained strong despite all of the difficulties they encountered. The couple's unwavering dedication to one another and their commitment to helping the neighborhood get back on its feet helped the area feel more united and optimistic about the future. The resilient residents and unwavering love of the village's two most notable residents helped the once unstable community blossom into a tranquil and prosperous place. The story's events ultimately served as a warning about the influence of secrets and the value of forgiving others. The mysterious bride's past had come close to destroying her life, but with the help of the main character and the village's support, she was able to overcome the difficulties and discover true happiness. The lessons that can be learned from the events will last for many generations, even though the village may never be the same again. Many people in the village now have faith in the transformative power of love thanks to the legend that has grown up around the protagonist and the mysterious bride's love story. The formerly divided community now stood as one, prepared to meet any obstacle head-on with optimism and fortitude. The mysterious bride and the neighborhood gentleman reconnected the next morning, this time in the village church's garden. The birds are singing and the sun is shining, but there is tension in the air. The bride seems equally determined to keep her secrets as the gentleman is to unravel the mysteries surrounding his new acquaintance. The groom notices a faint scar on the bride's wrist as they greet each other and wonders if it has anything to do with her enigmatic past. He makes the decision to proceed cautiously in an effort to gain her trust and learn the truth about her mysterious demeanor. They converse politely, complimenting the garden's beauty and the impending harvest festival, but it is obvious that there is much that is unspoken. The man makes a choice as they part ways. No matter what it takes, he will learn the bride's true identity. He is aware that he must proceed with caution because more than just his curiosity might be at risk. He promises to conduct his investigation in secrecy and to keep his intentions a secret. He visits the museum where the priceless artifact was stolen to start his investigation. The fussy little curator, who has a deep love for antiquities, is the subject of his conversation. The gentleman assures the curator that he is only interested in helping to solve the crime, despite the curator's hesitation to speak with him for fear that he might be a suspect in the theft. The man looks closely at the security measures and keeps an eye out for any unusual activity among the museum staff or visitors. He stealthily gathers information from other sources as well, determined to learn the truth about the theft and apprehend its perpetrator. He learns from the curator that the artifact was a medieval-era golden chalice. It served as the focal point of a unique exhibit that was on loan from a private collector. The museum had numerous alarms and security cameras installed to protect it at all costs. But in the dead of night, it had disappeared completely. Since there were no indications of a forced entry or any other hints left behind, the police were perplexed by the theft. The curator believes it was a cover-up and is hoping that the authorities can quickly locate the artifact. After giving the curator a sincere thank you for his time, the man continues on to his next destination. The wealthy landowner had been staying at the neighborhood inn before his untimely demise, so he goes there. The innkeeper is a cheery man who enjoys a pint of beer and a good laugh. He explains to the man that the landowner had frequently visited the community and had always stayed at the inn. The proprietor had been acting strangely during his previous visit, frequently muttering to himself and avoiding conversation with the other guests, the innkeeper also mentions. The man records this information and goes on with his inquiry. The landowner had always been a reclusive person who preferred to be alone. But during his previous visit, he had been in a bad mood and had argued with a few other visitors and grumbled about the noise. The night before the landowner was killed, the innkeeper overheard a loud argument coming from the landowner's room, but he was too afraid to go investigate. The gentleman decides to question the other guests who were present during the altercation because he believes the argument may have been related to the murder of the landowner. Additionally, he intends to learn more about the landowner's history and any potential aggravating factors. After giving the innkeeper a sincere word of appreciation, the man returns to the bride's cottage. He notices the door is ajar as he gets closer. He enters cautiously while yelling the name of the bride. There is silence. He looks around the cottage, but cannot find her. He sees a letter on the table that is addressed to him and explains that she had to leave unexpectedly and expresses her regret for any inconvenience. He reads it and can't help but get the feeling that something is off. He hears a noise outside all of a sudden. He dashes to the window and observes the bride running into the woods while holding a small leather bag. No matter the risk, he knows he must continue to follow her. He shivers as the cool night air hits him as he steps outside. After taking a deep breath, he starts to chase after her in the hopes of catching up with her before it's too late. He pursues her quickly over rocky ground and through a forested area. At the cliff's edge, where she is standing and gazing out at the water below, he finally catches up to her. He moves cautiously toward her so as not to startle her. With tears running down her face, she turns to face him. She describes to him how she was coerced into getting married to an evil and abusive man. She had fled, hoping to start a new life by selling the golden chalice she had taken with her. However, she had been apprehended by her husband's goons and severely beaten. He pays close attention as his heart aches for her. He pledges to assist her, and the two of them come up with a strategy to get away from her husband's control and begin a new life in a safe place. As he listens, the gentleman's heart breaks for the bride. He is aware that he must assist her at all costs. Together, they come up with a plan to find the chalice and reveal what really happened to kill the landowner. They go back to the village and enlist the aid of several reliable friends. They break into the business partner of the landowner where they discover the missing chalice and some proof. They meticulously record the evidence and give it to the authorities so that they can convict the murderer. The village is finally able to move on and heal after the truth was finally made known. The puzzle gradually begins to come together as the investigation goes on. The maid who worked for the murdered landowner's employer and the museum curator who had access to the missing artifact are two suspects that the local law enforcement are able to gather enough evidence to lead to their arrest. However, The protagonist keeps looking further because something about these arrests doesn't feel right. Because of their instincts, the protagonists were able to piece together a larger conspiracy involving influential locals who were using the maid and curator as pawns in their scheme. With this new knowledge, the main character must choose whether to jeopardize their own safety in order to bring the real offenders to justice. The protagonist discovers a startling truth through his relentless investigation: the mysterious bride is not who she seems to be. In actuality, she is responsible for both the murder of the landowner and the theft of the artifact. In order to gain the trust of the villagers, she had been hiding out in the village while strategizing her next move. The protagonist is now forced to make a moral decision regarding whether to put his safety before trying to find the real offender. It is up to the protagonist to stop the enigmatic bride before she can further endanger the village as a result of her dishonest actions. This information shocks the main character, who feels betrayed by the woman he has come to care about. Being torn between his love for her and his responsibility to bring her to justice, he battles his conflicting emotions. There is a noticeable tension in the village as the trial draws near. There is disagreement among the villagers. While some are convinced of the bride's guilt, others do not. Attending the trial, the main character is committed to seeing justice done. As the trial goes on, the main character comes across fresh information that contradicts his theories, leading him to wonder if his love for her has caused him to lose his senses. He must ultimately make a difficult choice that will have an impact on both his own life and the accused bride's future. In a shocking turn of events, the bride admits to the accusations made against her. She admits to the murder and the theft, explaining why she committed the crimes. For the protagonist, who had hoped for a different result, it is a heartbreaking moment. Now that he is aware that he must uphold justice while also taking into account the humanity of the accused, the protagonist must deal with the ramifications of his choice. He is left contemplating his decision and wondering if there was anything else he could have done to avert this tragic outcome. Following the trial, the village gradually starts to mend. The main character struggles to reconcile his feelings for the mysterious bride with the truth of her deeds. He eventually understands that his affection for her was a facade and that he needs to end the relationship. The main character looks for solace in his work and in his friends and family's support. He gains the ability to accept responsibility for his perceived failings and begins to view the future with optimism. The protagonist looks back on what has happened and the lessons he has learned as the story comes to a close. He recognizes the peril of making judgments based solely on outward appearances and the significance of seeking the truth, regardless of how challenging it may be to accept it. The main character makes a commitment to open up more to his loved ones after realizing the importance of communication and honesty in relationships. He is aware that genuine strength comes from being open to criticism of one's own shortcomings. The mysterious bride, who arrives in a small village and sets off a series of events that threatens to split the community apart, is the main character of The Enigmatic Bride, an engrossing story of mystery and deceit. We embark on a journey of discovery as the protagonist investigates, revealing the web of deceit and betrayal that surrounds the bride. The plot examines themes of betrayal, deceit, and the peril of drawing conclusions from outward appearances. It serves as a reminder that the truth is not always what it seems to be, and that we should be prepared to question our presumptions and look for the truth. The talented Jane Austen created The Enigmatic Bride, a magnificent work of fiction. With its captivating plot, well-drawn characters, and stimulating themes, it is sure to captivate readers. The novel's examination of societal expectations and norms adds another level of complexity to the narrative, making it a classic that still has an impact on readers today. Austen's deft language use would also contribute to a delightful reading experience that is both enjoyable and educational. Dear viewers, what a delightful journey we have been on together. The twists and turns of this story kept us on the edge of our seats, and the blossoming romance between the enigmatic bride and her brave gentleman had us swooning with anticipation. If you were as captivated by this tale as I was, I implore you to come along with me on more Midnight Murmurs adventures. Our next story promises to be just as thrilling, just as romantic, and just as mysterious. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, Midnight Murmurs, and join me under the moonlit sky for more stories that will make your heart race and your mind wander. Until then, sweet dreams, my dear friends.